I'm starting
Oh,
our joy conversation.
this is a joyous way to start this conversation for sure. Yeah, I wanted to talk about joy.
Hey.
I once had a client. She wrote for a feminist entrepreneur magazine when that was still a thing,
Mhm.
and she always spoke about the joy line as a uh, as a sort of indicator of whether you're heading in the right direction.
Ah.
To have joy be like if things feel joyful, then you're heading in the right direction, right? And
Hmm.
when stuff starts feeling heavy and draining, then maybe you need to reconsider some of your choices.
Mm.
Like she had sort of the baseline needs to be joy, and I really like that as a concept. Because joy to me also doesn't necessarily mean that everything has to be super fun,
Mm.
but it has to contribute to the overall feeling of satisfaction uh, and light, right, in life.
Yeah. I I liked the concept of joy. Applying it is sometimes a little challenging. I think I like to, this is like the celebration. We talk a lot about celebrating, celebrating small wins. And often I would skip past that point. I would kind of have a moment of, yay, that was great. And then next thing, on I go. Like there it
I
was.
never do this. I'm super comfortable with joy.
But I think I was missing what I loved about what I was doing, like that. And I love my admin, I love my data. And yeah, I would be um working and enjoying it, but not really understanding what that was. And then it would end and I go, okay, that's done. And and I think it was I used celebration as the joyous moment.
Mm.
But yes, I'm celebrating this happening. Yay, off I go again. But over the years, I think from meeting you probably, it's all your fault, Max. I realized that there is moments, all these moments throughout the day that I can have that little bit of joy in and enjoy it. And even our cup of coffee when we're doing this sort of stuff, I have a moment where I'm like, this is like the sweetest spot in my coffee drinking. I'm like, this
But
brings
it
me
really is right,
joy.
and because I think as well, like I think what we're kind of touching on now, we're getting in the philosophy of this a little bit, but what we're touching on, I think, here is sort of the difference between joy and happiness,
Yeah,
right?
true.
Happiness is that fleeting moment of excitement and like where joy for me is a much more sort of steady, quiet thing
Mm,
that can exist even like when we're doing something that's super challenging, like that can still be very joyous because we want to get better at it or because we're curious about it or right, but it can be hard, but it can still be joyous. Whereas generally when something's hard, we're not happy about it,
yeah.
right? Like the last couple of months I've been starting to sing again. I hadn't used my voice for many years for
Hmm.
various different reasons. I don't recommend. Uh, and I got quite frustrated because I like after not singing for 10 years, surprise, surprise, I wasn't as good at it as I was when I still sang every day. I
Yeah,
wonder why. Right. And I find that quite frustrating. It didn't make me feel happy, but it did give me joy to know that I was doing this again,
yeah.
right? That I was finding my way back to myself, that I was investing that time and energy into relearning a skill that I just because I just needed to train the muscles again. It's the body memory was there, the muscle memory was there, but I hadn't used those muscles, so they were like, "What are you doing?
Yes.
We haven't done this in ages." Right? But so it can be really frustrating, but still be joyous.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference, right? Like because life isn't always the happy moments, but
Mm,
joy can also exist. And I sometimes say this, like, I remember this moment that I experienced with some friends, and someone had just passed. We were all deep in grief. We were so sad because we
mm,
lost this mutual friend. But there was also such joy in the coming together and the being in community with that group of friends in that moment. And it wasn't a happy moment by any fucking stretch of the imagination. We were
mm.
all like, but the fact that we had each other was a very joyous experience.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder, yeah, sometimes if, as you say, that happiness and joy get a little lost in what they mean. Like I'm thinking about your friend's joyometer, joyometric.
Can't remember what she called it exactly, but it was the joy line, I think.
A bit, and it is right. It's like, how are you measuring joy in your life? And when do you allow it to come in? Because I think also there's, I'm always trying to be positive and upbeat. That's kind of my thing because I don't want to feel miserable. And I think
Because Mags cries all the time, so that balances that out.
and it's but it's like it's not joy in that way. It's a different thing. And but I know that there are moments where I just, you just kind of go, yeah, this is great. And I'm wondering how many times a day does that actually happen? Like, what is the metric that I have for what joy I experience in my life? And we all work and we try to work hard, and it's like, sometimes you take time off, and that is a nice joyous experience. You've got moments there where you go out on holidays, or there's factors that bring in that joy. But I'm wondering if, yeah, it gets a little tangled up you know in that happiness moment, like the celebratory, yay, this makes me happy.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Joy to me is much quieter than happiness.
yeah.
And it is sort of the background buzz of things, right? Like
Mhm.
it's not quite in the foreground.
It isn't, is it? No.
It's not. And like I say, it can exist in the most, happiness can't coexist with sadness in the
Yeah,
same space, and joy totally can.
yeah. Isn't it interesting? It's like it's changing the way that I think um, how you can feel joy in what you're doing, in regardless of the emotional place that you're in. But yeah, it's a very different environment. I mean, I quite like
And I do all of this to your brain
yeah,
while we're having our morning coffee. This is a lot. I'm sorry for this mode that I'm in today.
but
I'll have more coffee. That will make it better.
I'm curious to know. So there's businesses out there that promote joy. We're
Hmm.
going to bring more joy into your life. But what they're saying is we're trying to make you feel happier. So, is joy such a personal thing versus happiness? It's like I think there's a laughing club, and you get people together and they start laughing, and then it makes you feel happy because you're laughing because your endorphins are kind of kicking in and stuff. And I'm curious to know whether, and this could be something that our audience could reply to, is do you feel that people are trying to promote joy, but actually it's trying to make you feel happier?
Yeah, I think the words are being used interchangeably when they aren't. But I have the same with self-esteem and self-confidence. They
Ah,
are often also used as if they're the same thing, and it's not, because self-esteem is how I feel about my worth in this world, and self-confidence is how competent I feel at the task I am currently engaging in,
yeah,
right? And honestly, how good I am at doing something shouldn't massively impact my self-worth, my self-esteem. It
mm,
will massively impact my self-confidence,
yeah,
right? And I think that's a similar thing with joy and happiness. Joy can exist. To me, joy is a more it's like I say, it's the background noise, right? It's the foundation of where you're at. It's your baseline, and the happiness is the spikes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That changes throughout the day. I'm not, I can have a joyous day, but have like moments of happiness, moments of sadness, moments of, I don't know, flabbergastedness. I had one of those moments yesterday. Something happened, and I was like, "What is happening here?"
Yeah, but it's a really interesting thing to acknowledge because I think we take something and think that it's something else. And it's like, why aren't you happy in your work? And it's like, but you could absolutely love like there's this feeling of achievement in what you're doing, but it's not something that is really registered externally, as you're saying. It's something that you feel content by what you've done, but it then doesn't, people go, well, you're not happy. That's like, but I'm
It's
feeling
climate and
good.
water, right? Or it's climate and weather.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a very interesting thing to talk about because I wonder if people confuse the two, but I think also finding joy in what you do, and this is what you and I have been trying to do over the last year, is what really, like when we sit at the end of the day, how are we feeling about how that day went? And again, we have happy moments and like, yeah, that went well, but it's like, is it, stimulating us? Is it making us feel like this is where we want to be and what we want to do? And I think, yeah, that quiet resonance that sort of sits behind is that joy that you feel about, yes, I'm doing something that I really want to do and I really love this, even when it's hard or you sort
And
of
it's about, it's
struggling.
about the impact you're creating. It's about the value you're bringing. It's all these sort of big concepts
Mm,
that we talk about. Like, like, it's what I'm doing aligned with my core values. That will make it more joyful, right? Like
yeah,
if you're doing something that directly challenges your core values, it's not going to make you feel good.
no.
It just isn't.
Yeah. And
So
I think also when someone says, "Oh, you really love what you do," it resonates through. It's how we talk about, you talk about stories, I talk about workflows, it comes out without us even having to say anything because it's that joy that we
but it
have because
lights you up, right? Like
yeah,
it's what lights you up from the inside out.
yeah,
And I mean, cake can make me happy, but it but but it doesn't necessarily contribute to my life being more joyful, because it's just a moment, it's just a fleeting moment, and it's great. Like, find happiness by all means. There's nothing wrong with feeling happy, right? That's not what we're saying. But I think when we flip the two, or when we think they are the same thing, then we're constantly sort of chasing this high of happiness, and that to me then becomes that sort of toxic positivity, right? Because then I
yeah,
can't let the sadness in, because that will destroy the happiness. Whereas, like I said, like, joy can exist while all the other emotions happen. Like, that doesn't have to diminish the joy that you experience in life, right? Joy, like I said, when we lost that friend, we were all so sad. He was way too young,
mm,
and we were also sad, but there was also such joy in the coming together and the feeling community and connection. Those are also very much part of my core values, right? Like, they are at the heart of who I am. So being in that space, despite the grief and the sadness, it was a joyous experience nonetheless.